common practice in wrestling that if a wrestler injures someone or something goes wrong in the match, they apologize. Naturally, most of these apologies are done completely in private and usually take place backstage.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me and humbly accept my apology.
While the stories that came out in relation to wrestlers apologizing usually surface from interviews, more recently, thanks to WWE Network shows such as WWE 24, we've been able to see these once secret apologies firsthand.
First of all, I'm not your bro. You put a stop to that.
Okay. Hey, that's an opinion. If you don't like it, that's fine.
You got it?
Yeah.
But when do these times happen? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 times WWE wrestlers secretly apologized. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists.
Not sure, I can't speak for him, like how it affects him, whether there's real forgiveness. I think there is, though. I think, although I'll never probably ever get over what happened to me.
Number 1. D'Lo Brown apologizes to Droz. During a SmackDown taping in October 1999, Droz was wrestling D'Lo Brown. During the match, Brown was going to execute one of his famous moves, the running powerbomb. This was a move that Brown had seemingly done every single match, and a move that he even performed on Droz himself in the past.
By his son, he had to be embarrassed. Oh, my! Sit-out powerbomb by D'Lo Brown with authority.
Unfortunately, when it came time to doing the move, Brown couldn't get the proper grip, which meant that Droz was dropped right on his head, and as a result, broke 2 bones in his neck. Droz was immediately rushed to hospital where emergency surgery was undertaken to reduce the swelling on his spine. He was unfortunately paralyzed, losing all movement below his neck. D'Lo went to the hospital alongside Droz and was nothing but apologetic.
Droz and I have talked about it on several occasions. We don't know what went wrong. Out of respect, we don't watch the tape.
Droz made a point of stating publicly that he doesn't blame D'Lo for the incident and has no ill will whatsoever towards him. Number 2. Shane McMahon apologizes to Chris Jericho. Survivor Series 2016 featured one of the most acclaimed traditional Survivor Series matches of all time. The men's 5-on-5 Raw vs SmackDown match had seemingly everything in the near hour-long spectacle, but in the match itself, Shane McMahon would tag in during the start of the match, and it was clear that Shane was red hot with excitement. This was only his second match back since returning in February, and the crowd was extremely excited to see Shane wrestle.
Oh, it's Shano! Here we go.
Shane would tag in and lock up with Chris Jericho, but Jericho would later reveal that Shane punched Y2J square in the face.
So we get in the ring together, me and Shane, and we go to lock up, and he punches me in the face. I'm like, I know Shane, that's just it. He gets very hyper, and he doesn't know how to throw a punch, so he actually, boom.
Jericho let it slide, but sadly Shane did it once again, meaning Jericho retorted with a stiff missile dropkick to the face before telling Shane to calm it down.
Dude, I jumped up and gave him like a Jean-Claude Van Damme double kick, pushing out and extending right in his face. Boom, he goes down. And I'm looking at him, and you can tell he's dazed a bit. And he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Calm the down." Calm.
Jericho revealed that Shane instantly apologized, and Jericho laughed it off as he assumed Shane was simply excited in the moment, and there was nothing more to it. Number 3. Sourav Gurjar. When NXT used to be taped at Full Sail University, it was extremely hard for WWE to prevent spoilers and photos leaking on social media. However, when COVID-19 hit the world and WWE wasn't allowed fans in attendance and they opted to have NXT stars in the audience, they would assume that they'd never have to worry about results and big moments being leaked again. But fast forward to the Great American Bash special event as it featured Keith Lee winning the NXT title from Adam Cole in the main event. However, NXT star Sourav Gurjar decided to post a picture of Keith Lee's title celebration and share it on his Instagram page. Why Gurjar decided to do this was unknown, and it obviously left NXT officials absolutely furious. It was reported the week after the incident that Gurjar apologized to the entire locker room for the incident, and there was no longer any heat on him following the sincere apology which took place backstage. Number 4. Brie Bella apologizes to Liv Morgan. Former Divas champion Brie Bella initially decided to retire at WrestleMania 32, but this was before she decided to come out of retirement as part of the build to the first ever WWE Women's exclusive pay-per-view, Evolution. Now, the problem for Brie was that the 2 years away resulted in drastic ring rust for Brie that was hugely detrimental to her and to her co-workers.
X Factor that is the third member of the... Whoa, no!
On her first match back, she flubbed a dive to the outside and then managed to kick Liv Morgan straight in the face, knocking her out cold in the process.
Oh my gosh, I just kicked Liv in the face.
Brie Bella had this to say during a 2018 interview in relation to the incident. With any type of physical body change, it changes so much. Even last week on Raw when I did the suicide dive and it was less momentum than I should have had, I forgot that I'm 10 pounds heavier than what I was. Gravity doesn't lie, that was a little different for me. I don't mind if I fail or succeed, no matter what, I want to look back with no regrets. Brie would apologize to Liv Morgan following the incident, and the two seemed to make amends rather quickly. The apology was briefly seen on an episode of Total Bellas where a hug between the two was shown backstage following Brie's apology.
In my 12 years of wrestling, I have never hurt someone, and I feel bad. I just keep thinking to myself, like, how did I allow this to happen?
Number 5. Shinsuke Nakamura apologizes to John Cena.
It's Ziggler! Ziggler jumping Nakamura!
Following a rough start on the main roster, WWE planned to get things back on track with the booking of Shinsuke Nakamura in the summer of 2017. They would book the former NXT champion to face John Cena on an episode of SmackDown prior to SummerSlam.
Nakamura's calling for it! Nakamura King Johnson!
The match itself featured Nakamura pinning Cena clean in the middle of the ring, but that wasn't the major talking point of the match, as during the closing moments of it, Nakamura would hit Cena with an exploder suplex, which caused Cena to land on the back of his head.
Right on the back of his head. The body is not meant to land like that.
Following the match, Nakamura would mouth the words, "I'm sorry," which Cena replied with, "Don't be sorry." It appeared as all was forgiven between the two men following the apology. However, Nakamura would go on to lose to Mahal twice on pay-per-view, suggesting that the apology wasn't accepted backstage by WWE officials. Number 6. Owen Hart apologizes to Stone Cold Steve Austin. One of the most infamous injuries of all time took place at 97 SummerSlam pay-per-view, as during a match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Owen Hart, Austin would be dropped on his head following a flubbed tombstone piledriver.
Now all of a sudden, my first concern is he paralyzed? You know, is he done? It's funny, in that 20 seconds, it's felt like forever.
Austin would be paralyzed in the ring with a broken neck and somehow managed to finish off the match. The neck injury though would leave Austin in a lot of pain for a number of years and would ultimately lead to his premature retirement in 2003. Bret Hart famously revealed that Owen had to apologize, and he eventually did by calling up Austin whilst he was recovering in hospital. Jim Ross commented on Owen's reaction to the incident during an episode of Grillin' JR. He stated, "During Steve's time off, I was in and out of San Antonio a few times. I'd see Owen at television. He always pulls me off to the side. Didn't fail to ask about Steve. I know that Owen had been kind of reluctant about contacting Steve on the injury, and I don't think it was anything mean-spirited. I think it was strictly a matter of he was embarrassed. He was a Hart, and to many people, wrestling equals the Hart family. And Owen, unlike Bret would tell you he'd never hurt anybody in his life in a match he had. That's a great thing to say, and he meant it, and it's true. Owen can never say that now because he's not only hurt somebody, he may have ended the career of the biggest star we looked like we were going to ever have." Number 7. Seth Rollins apologizes to Sting. Night of Champions 2015 featured Sting competing for the WWE title for the first time ever. He would face Seth Rollins in the main event, and unfortunately it would end up being Sting's last match ever.
He just collapsed as I was coming towards him.
He just collapsed, and he might be hurt.
During the match, Rollins would hit a buckle bomb on Sting, but it led to Sting suffering a career-ending neck injury. He was able to finish the match, which was a testament to his strength and willpower, but wrestling ever again was simply out of the question.
You know, his legacy it only grows because of how he conducted himself in the ring that night and afterwards.
Sting would reveal that Rollins apologized as Sting was leaving the arena in an ambulance. Sting revealed he poked his head in the ambulance and said, "Man, I'm so sorry, I don't know what happened. I said, Seth, don't worry about it, it's not your fault." And for 15 minutes, he said, "I just want to tell you what an honor it was, what a pleasure. I can't believe I had a chance to get in the ring with you and work with you. I was you for Halloween when I was a kid."
Like, I had to tell him, because I didn't tell him anything. You know, we didn't talk much about like how much of a fan I was of his and how much he meant to me growing up.
Number 8, Sasha Banks apologizes to Paige.
I'm back.
When Paige returned to WWE in 2017 following a neck injury, many fans expected her to be fully recovered and ready to go. But just a few months later, she would once again injure her neck, but this time it resulted in her unfortunate retirement from the ring.
This is my heart, this is my soul, and this is my blood. Thank you all so much. I love you all.
The re-injury occurred at a house show on 27th December as Paige suffered the injury after taking a kick from Sasha Banks in a 6-woman tag team match, thus forcing the referee to stop the match and allow Paige to receive medical attention. Sasha would apologize for the incident, and there didn't appear to be any animosity between the two former champions. Paige would later reveal that fans should not blame Sasha whatsoever for the incident. Paige stated, "Nothing was ever Sasha's fault. She got so much backlash, and even in the ring, when we were there, people are chanting, 'Sasha sucks,' and it really upset me to hear that because it wasn't her fault." The injury also severely impacted Sasha herself, who opened up on an episode of WWE Chronicle. She revealed, "I just felt like, don't make me cry. So many bad things just kept happening and I don't know how to deal with them. And I really think what really started it all, like feeling sad, was the whole Paige situation. That really sucked. And having fans like, destroy me, destroy my work, I pride myself on my work so much and I would never intentionally try to hurt somebody. That sucked and made me question myself as a wrestler." Number 9, The Undertaker apologizes to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33 was initially supposed to be Taker's retirement match.
I think it was very religious. The jacket, the hat, it symbolizes how Taker worked his entire career.
However, because the match wasn't up to the standard of prior WrestleMania matches from The Undertaker, he decided that he wasn't going to retire in that manner. Thanks to the acclaimed WWE Network documentary, Undertaker revealed how disappointed he was with the match and how bad he felt for Roman, as it should have been an extremely special moment for him.
He's probably looking at me right now thinking, what was that guy all about? It's really disappointing.
The Undertaker would reveal that he apologized to Roman for the poor quality of the match, and would even the next year would make it a point of going up to Roman to tell him, "I just want you to know, that bothers me," when referencing the quality of the main event showdown. And number 10, Goldberg apologizes to The Undertaker. The match between Goldberg and The Undertaker at Super Showdown 2019 was met with extremely negative reviews from pretty much almost every WWE fan. The once dream match turned into a nightmare, as the match was a complete disaster from start to finish.
Oh, he was looking for the tombstone pile driver, I believe, trying to beat Undertaker with his own.
But the most notable moment in the match came when Goldberg dropped The Undertaker on his head following a jackhammer. Luckily, The Undertaker was okay, but a 300-pound man being dropped on his head could have been absolutely fatal.
Come and put on a wonderful show with a guy you've never, Hall of Famer you've never been in the ring with before. You know, things aren't always going to happen the way you plan them out to happen.
Goldberg would apologize to The Undertaker backstage following the event, and due to the horrendous reception of the match, Goldberg also apologized to the fans via social media. The match was so bad that both men would receive redemption matches at Extreme Rules 2019 and SummerSlam 2019 respectively. But there you have it, guys. 10 WWE wrestlers who apologized to their opponent. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.